During the run-up to the election announcement, and now that we have a date, there are several stories that are simmering just below the surface in our coverage, Nationally, across the table, you hear these stories at the local level, and local issues predominate. One such story is Eastern Westmoreland and the candidacy of the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell. I think it is pretty well known that Dr. Campbell's entry into Eastern Westmoreland has been opposed by several PNP supporters in the constituency, and by the man who was narrowly defeated in 2020, Luther Buchanan, who was the former MP who lost to the GLP's Daniel Lawrence by 11 votes in 2020. And he has made known his opposition to the entry of Dr. Campbell, or what he calls the insertion of Dr. Campbell into Eastern Westmoreland. An insertion that he says did not follow the procedures laid down by the People's National Party. And the story of the story of Dr. Campbell's candidacy there is being dogged by the lack of unity in the PNP organization in Eastern Westmoreland. Well, a couple of days ago, this just spilled into the open in a dangerous way, when, according to Mr. Buchanan, he felt it necessary to criticize the PNP President, Mark Golding, for his continued use of the phrase blood and fire, comrades. According to Buchanan, such language is reckless, irresponsible, and could incite violence. And he criticized openly Golding after a house near his residence was destroyed by fire on Monday. An incident he believes was a deliberate act of arson. And on the ground, we are told, in Eastern Westmoreland, it is being viewed as a deliberate act of arson against those who have been very vocal in their opposition to Dr. Campbell. And Ruby Williams has been following the story.
It's been an open secret that Luther Buchanan and some PNP supporters in Eastern Westmoreland are opposed to the candidacy of the PNP General Secretary, Dr. Dayton Campbell. Luther Buchanan explains that his home sits on the adjoining property to the house that was burnt. He says he had granted permission for the structure to be built on his land for a man who was working for him at the time. The house, he notes, was constructed by Food for the Poor. He believes the blaze was politically motivated.
It seems to be deliberately set on fire. And I mean, in a society as vulnerable and volatile as ours is, when I hear the leader of the People's National Party talking about blood and fire and telling people to get wicked on them, there are those that are going to take it literal. I consider such statements inciting, irresponsible, and reckless when you want to lead a country. So I am not saying who did it, because I don't have that proof yet, but I am of the firm view, and it is my opinion, that it is a matter of incitement from such comments.
Buchanan represented Eastern Westmoreland from 2006 until he was defeated by the Jamaica Labour Party's Daniel Lawrence in the 2020 general election, losing by only 11 votes. He later resigned as constituency chairman in September 2022. The PNP's Dr. Campbell was subsequently named the party's standard bearer for the seat. In 2023, there was speculation that Buchanan might run as an independent candidate in the general election. He has openly stated that he was opposed to Dr. Campbell's selection.
It is known from day one that I opposed the insertion of Dayton Campbell in the constituency of Eastern Westmoreland that I once represent. Not out of any ill feeling, but the process wasn't a real process. And for that reason, I objected to him coming. And then, really, I don't see what he brings to the table here, because he had a constituency. In his first term, he lost 4 councillors. Second, basically lost his seat by 2,000, and you're coming to a seat that we lost by 11 votes in a recount. I mean, the way you got here is. So the gentleman that lives in the house is one of those who share my sentiment.
The Eastern Westmoreland seat, created in 1993, had been held by the PNP for 27 consecutive years before Buchanan's loss. When asked if he believes Dr. Campbell will win on September 3, Buchanan declined to respond directly, saying only that September 3 will speak for itself.
This is my first election that I will abstain, and I'm categorically stating that I'm not a Labourite. I am not, but I'm not supporting Dayton Campbell in this seat.
You're not a Labourite. Comments have been made that you're actively campaigning for Dayton Campbell's opponent. Is that so?
I have not been campaigning, but I live here and I've had conversations. Am I not entitled to a conversation on my opinion? September 3 will speak for itself. From my observation, nomination day is a clear indication of where the people's hearts are. And I regret that we are at this point in Jamaica, and there are some that would want to turn back the hands of time.
Robeanne Williams for Nationwide News.
Did he say he was not campaigning for Dr. Campbell's opponent? No, he didn't say that. He gave an answer that sidestepped, what he was asked. He said, I'm a resident here. I'm entitled to my views. Earlier he said he was opposed to Campbell's nomination. So it's clear, The word on the ground is that Luther Buchanan is doing house-to-house campaigning for the GLP's candidate. That is part of the word on the ground. So that is one we will have to watch on election night carefully to see if Dayton will be able to overcome the internal opposition to him.